decide whether we save the American dream?
Some people are always in a hurry. They run when they could walk, race up steps when others take it slow. When Joe Biden's president, America is just going to have to keep up.
Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A?
It's trying to distract the American people.
Can you say yes or no, Brett? Yes or no? You can't answer the question.
I don't know.
BHR Partners was launched, a private equity firm funded in part by Chinese banks.
My son's business dealings were not anything with everybody that he's talking about.
What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board.
Hunter Biden holds an equity stake in a company that's taken over $1.5 billion in loans from the Chinese government.
China and Iran want to see Donald Trump's defeat, and they're looking for ways to make that happen.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion.
More than 20 million jobs just in the month of April, making it the worst jobs report on record.
We will crush the virus.
Total cases in the U.S. now top 5.8 million. The virus has killed more than 179,000.
No one will be safe in Biden's America.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We're, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
right now it's survival mode. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
Joe Biden doesn't have the energy, and his ideas like raising taxes, it's going to hurt us. I'm sticking with Donald Trump.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
The 2020 U.S. presidential race is in full swing. President Donald Trump is up for re-election and will contest against Democratic nominee Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is a helpless puppet of the radical left.
The days of Donald Trump's divisiveness will soon be over.
Battle lines have been drawn in a country that has been hit the hardest by the coronavirus pandemic. With cases exceeding the 7 million mark, the COVID-19 crisis has halted live campaign rallies. With no door-to-door canvassing, traditional sit-down interviews with candidates, and fully packed stadiums, this election the candidates have to rely on the television, radio, and digital platforms.
Far-left policies, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and AOC are perfectly synchronized.
Advertising analytics have projected a total of $6.7 billion could be spent on advertising in the 2020 election cycle.
Joe Biden is now a 2020 presidential candidate.
Biden will enter this race as the frontrunner.
Armored SUVs. And in the state legislature, I support.
Splashed across various mediums during the primaries, these ads can make or break a candidate. However, this is not something new for Americans.
Now's the time to fight for what we believe.
Political advertising can be powerful and game-changing, and it goes back decades. But how did it all begin? The concept of attack ads evolved with the evolution of this device, the telly. Till 1948, less than 1% of American homes had one. By 1954, more than half of all Americans got a television set, popularly known as boob tube. By 1958, over 80% of Americans had installed televisions in their homes.
Eisenhower answers America.
The very first televised campaign ads were launched during the 1952 presidential race. Leading the charge was Republican candidate Dwight David Ike Eisenhower and his running mate Richard Nixon. The campaign spent roughly $1.5 million on ads with the aim of removing Democrats from the White House, who had been in charge for 20 years. The amount spent on these ads was twice that of Democratic opponent Adlai Stevenson.
Graft, scandal, headlines.
The ads, called Eisenhower Answers America, featured Americans asking questions about the issues of the day. The war in Korea, inflation, high taxes, and many more. And Eisenhower responded to these questions frankly, staring directly into the camera, utterly devoid of emotion.
Eisenhower Answers America.
My children hear so much about government graft, they think everyone is crooked.
I know. Too many politicians have sold their ideals of honesty down the Potomac. We must bring back integrity and thrift to Washington. This we are determined to do.
I for president, I for president, I for president, I for president.
The campaign soon followed up with a jingle based on his name, I Like Ike.
We'll take Ike to Washington. We don't want John or Harry, let's do that big job right. Let's get in step with the guy that's hep.
This gave a major edge to Eisenhower's campaign. Ultimately, he won the election with a huge margin and was chosen as the 34th President of the United States of America.
For a holiday in Georgia. There he will prepare for his new post. America has shown her confidence in Eisenhower, and Britain too believes he will not fail in the tremendous task ahead.
We got to get where we are going, travel day and night for President Adelaide, go the other way, we'll all go.
With this, ad strategies for U.S. elections changed forever.
Hang off the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington.
A man old enough to know and young enough to do.
A man who's old enough to know
And young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
This is how John Fitzgerald Kennedy's election campaign advertisement described him.
Shall lead the country for the next 4 years.
Attacked by his opponent Richard Nixon on the grounds of being inexperienced, this Kennedy ad helped turn JFK's youth into an asset for him. Kennedy won with 56% votes. And with this, America got its 35th president. Sadly, Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, leaving the Vice President, Lyndon B. Johnson, in charge of the country. In the presidential election of 1964, Johnson was opposed by conservative Republican Barry Goldwater. His campaign released one of the most talked about political spots in television history. An idyllic setting, a 3-year-old girl counting as she plucks daisy petals in a sunny field. Her words are replaced by a sinister mission control countdown. This is followed by a massive nuclear blast in a classic mushroom shape. The ad left many speechless.
To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark, we must either love each other or we must die.
The message of this ad was loud and clear. Republican opponent Barry Goldwater was a genocidal maniac who was willing to use nuclear weapons in Vietnam. The ad became so controversial that it had to be pulled off air.
The McGovern Defense Plan. He would cut the Marines by 1/3.
This ad aired during Richard Nixon's re-election bid against Democratic challenger George McGovern.
It isn't just cutting into the fat.
The message was obvious. Don't vote for McGovern, or he'll steal your toys and cut your military in half.
President Nixon doesn't believe we should play games with our national security. He believes in a strong America.
With the United States military still deeply engaged in the Vietnam War, Nixon's campaign sought to portray Democrats as weak on national defense.
By 1/2. And carriers from 16 to 6. Senator Hubert Humphrey had this to say about the McGovern proposal. It isn't just cutting into the fat. It isn't just cutting into manpower. It's cutting into the very security of this country.
It was sponsored by a group called Democrats for Nixon. Nixon won the election in a landslide, taking 60.7% of the popular vote.
Do solemnly swear.
I, Richard Billhouse Nixon, do solemnly swear.
That you will faithfully execute the office.
That I will faithfully execute the office.
Of President of the United States.
Of President of the United States.
I will keep America moving forward, always forward, for a better America, for an endless, enduring dream and 1,000 points of light. This is my mission.
George Herbert Walker Bush is often referred to as the most successful one-term president. The 41st President of the United States came into power in 1989. A Republican, Bush Sr. took office after a landslide victory over Democrat Michael Dukakis.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
As Governor, Michael Dukakis vetoed mandatory sentences for drug dealers. He vetoed the death penalty. His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers not eligible for parole.
And this famous campaign ad, Revolving Door, had something to do with it.
Many are still at large.
Designed by the now disgraced Fox mogul Roger Eugene Ailes, it shows men walking in and out of a prison as the narrator accuses Democratic presidential candidate Michael Dukakis of being soft on crime.
Now Michael Dukakis says he wants to do for America what he's done for Massachusetts.
The ad majorly capitalized on the case of Willie Horton, a Massachusetts state prison inmate. Horton raped a woman in 1987 while on weekend furlough.
While out, many committed other crimes like kidnapping.
This black and white ad successfully cast a doubt on Dukakis' ability to ensure public safety, striking a major blow to his campaign. George H.W. Bush went on to serve as the 41st U.S. President until he was defeated in 1992 by Bill Clinton.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear.
The 42nd President of the U.S. did not indulge in attack ads. Instead, he got in Jeffrey Tuchman, a man who directed a film shown at the 1992 Democratic Convention.
I was born in a little town called Hope, Arkansas, 3 months after my father died. I remember that old two-story house where I lived with my grandparents. They had very limited incomes.
Man from Hope, Clinton's famous campaign ad, was a small part of the long film.
At the Boys Nation program.
A biographical portrait of Bill Clinton, this 60-second clip showcased Clinton reminiscing about his childhood and early political career. It was designed to showcase the values that Clinton gained through his humble beginnings. The emotional advert hit the right note, and the U.S. voted Clinton to power.
After I graduated, I really didn't care about making a lot of money. I just wanted to go home and see if I could make a difference.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. It was so by immigrants.
A member of the Democratic Party, Barack Obama made history as the first African-American president of the United States. He served as the 44th president from 2009 to 2017.
Women who reached for the ballots. A president who chose the moon as our new frontier. And a king who took us to the mountaintop. And pointed the way to the promised land. Yes, we can to justice and equality.
In 2009, Obama took office following a decisive victory over Republican nominee John McCain. 4 years later, in the 2012 election, he defeated Republican Mitt Romney to be re-elected.
Over the next 4 months, you have a choice to make. Not just between two political parties, or even two people. It's a choice between two very different plans for our country to strengthen the middle.
During his re-election, Obama released this 1-minute-long ad to speak to his voters directly.
Afford to invest in education, manufacturing, and homegrown American energy for good middle.
Titled The Choice, the advert had an intimate feel, with Obama gently laying out the contrast between his economic vision and that of his Republican opponent, Mitt Romney. This was the first time Obama, as the president and as a presidential candidate, was addressing voters directly for the 2012 election cycle.
We need to get that dog and follow them around, and every time they say these things, like, oh, you know, the Great Recession was caused by too much regulation, you know?
That Hillary, as I say, crooked Hillary.
If you want to be president of the United States, you got to get familiar with the United States. You got to spend time with Americans of all sorts and backgrounds in every part of our country. Don't just fly that big jet in and land it.
In 2016, the ad wars peaked when Donald Trump joined the fray and officially declared that he wants to run for the White House.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Trump's most impressive ad was quite dangerous for America.
Our next president faces daunting challenges in a dangerous world. Iran promoting terrorism, North Korea threatening, ISIS on the rise.
It was an attack on his opponent and Democrat nominee, Hillary Clinton. Through this ad, Trump argued that she didn't have the strength or stamina to lead the country.
Hillary Clinton doesn't have the fortitude, strength, or stamina to lead in our world. She failed as Secretary of State. Don't let her fail us again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
While Trump declared himself the healthiest candidate ever to run for president, footage of Clinton stumbling as she got into a car after a September 11th memorial event quickly went viral. On the other hand, Hillary Clinton spent more than $245 million on airing campaign ads in 2016.
I'm getting ready.
Her campaign followed a more typical path, first introducing herself.
I'm getting ready to do something too. I'm running for president. Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top.
And then highlighting pet issues.
Teach our dog to quit eating the trash.
And so we have high hopes for 2015 that that's going to happen.
This ad mirrors, attacked Trump's careless use of language when discussing the physical appearances of women.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. She's a slob. She ate like a pig.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10. Does she have a good body? No. Does she have a fat? Absolutely.
So you treat women with respect? I can't say that either.
All right, good.
Clinton's campaign also released another powerful ad when they filmed Khizr Khan.
My son was
stationed in Iraq. He saw a suicide bomber approaching his camp.
Father of a fallen Muslim soldier, asking if the Republican nominee's vision for America would include him.
When the bomb exploded, he saved everyone in his unit. Only one American soldier died. My son was Captain Humayun Khan. He was 27 years old, and he was a Muslim American. I want to ask Mr. Trump, would my son have a place in your America?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Another opponent whose ad stood out was Republican Senator Ted Cruz.
I understand that when the mainstream media covers immigration, it doesn't often see it as an economic issue.
Cruz offered a sly, provocative take on the debate over illegal immigration.
And I will say the politics of it would be very, very different if a bunch of lawyers or bankers were crossing the Rio Grande. Or if a bunch of people with journalism degrees were coming over and driving down the wages.
What you can see here are some business-suited men and women running across a land which is shown as Mexico border.
If I'm elected president, we will triple the Border Patrol. We will build a wall that works.
The ad is creative and effective in delivering its message.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
And how many of us have seen a politician taking charge at home? Well, meet Republican Senator Ron Johnson, who was seen changing his grandson's diaper in this ad.
You know, I really didn't want your dad to run for a second term. Yeah, politics have been pretty disgusting lately. If you ask me, vicious. All the false attacks. Dad needs some help.
The Wisconsin senator showed that he doesn't shy away from any type of work.
I'm even more concerned about the future. And just like Dad helps out with the kids, he's exactly the guy we need to clean up the mess in Washington.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Nice shot.
That was pretty good.
It's Saturday Night Live!
This late-night American TV comedy show also took a few potshots at Trump's campaign in 2016.
The guy's a winner.
He's authentic.
He's the only one who's actually created jobs.
He literally wrote the book on negotiating.
Trump's an outsider. Washington needs that.
I think he can make this country great again.
So when people ask why you support Donald Trump, you just tell them.
He's going to take our economy from here to here. I like that.
He's not some cautious politician. He says what I'm thinking.
I don't know what it is. I just like the guy.
Some of his ideas seem a little out there, but...
The ad accused him of attracting racist voters.
He's definitely not PC.
So why do I support Trump? 3 words. Good at business.
A message from racists for Donald Trump.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute.
After an often bitter campaign, Clinton had to concede defeat to Trump on November 8, 2016.
President of the United States.
Soon after Trump swept to victory, the eagerly anticipated John Lewis Christmas advert was released. But Joe.co.uk, a social media publisher, re-edited that ad, and the outcome was hilarious. And as expected, celebrities continued to voice their protest against POTUS.
So Hollywood is crawling with outsiders and foreigners. And if we kick them all out, you'll have nothing to watch but football and mixed martial arts, which are not the arts.
In 2017, Eminem released a lyrical tirade against Donald Trump. The freestyle rap video aired as part of BET's Hip Hop Awards.
We love our military. We love our country.
The 2020 United States elections will be held on the 3rd of November 2020. Joe Biden and Donald Trump will go head-to-head for the White House. Who will emerge victorious? America will decide.
If I lose to him, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will never speak to you again. You'll never see me again.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.